G'day, it's Mitchell here from Sun Valley Trading Company, the Australian distributors of Cowboy industrial sewing machines and leather machines. Today we have the Bell Skiver 802 that we're going to run through some operational procedures and adjustments. So this machine is a dual feed bell skiving machine with feed on top and bottom. You have a press foot lift pressure lever here that you can lift it to allow your leather to go underneath. Then you can just begin to feed and just feed it on through. The bell runs separately and constantly, and the feed is on a stop-start regulated by the foot, and you can just regulate your feed as per such, like that. We'll run through basic adjusting, and then we'll get into more of the complicated adjustments as we go on. The presser foot pressure is adjusted here at this knob, and you can, if you put your lever down and then adjust this up or down, it'll adjust the thickness of your skive and the pressure it puts on the roller. You also have another adjustment here that adjusts the angle of the roller. I think once you get this set up, you probably don't fool with it that much. It just helps if you're wanting to do like a V-skive or something like that. Wanting to put your fabric, your leather in further. You then have a guide here that can adjust the depth of your skive. A lot of times, if you're doing a thick piece of leather, you may want to set this to the front and then gradually move back if you're wanting to do a deep skive, so you don't have to chomp a whole lot out in one hit if it's struggling. But this machine will feed through pretty good with the top feed. So yeah, that's the basic principles of that. This here lever here adjusts your bell backwards and forwards. The bell wants to be adjusted in an ideal world, so it's only about 1 mil or 2 from the edge of this plate. If you can see there now, ideally that's where it wants to be adjusted to. In saying that, especially with these top feed machines, I find that you often need to adjust this back, especially for heavier leather, as what will happen is this top feed roller will tend to jam on the bell rather than creating pressure on the stone. So to remedy that, get a longer angle on your bell knife edge, and also you can adjust this out to allow to get more room. So if you're having trouble with your leather jamming on the bell, one of the first things I would do would be to move this out somewhat. I've operated it right out to about 5 mil, no trouble at all. In saying that, you are going to need to readjust the distance from your stone to your bell with these other levers, and also check that it's parallel from one side to the other with this knob here. The press foot mechanism has these adjustment screws here that need to be fine-tuned and adjusted and then locked down on these little nuts so that there's no slop in any of this mechanism. It also needs to be well greased. It wouldn't hurt to
it should be already done from when we send it to you, but at some stage it wouldn't hurt to actually take this top off and put some good automotive grease in there or something, and make sure that really will move freely even when this is tightened up, so that you can, this will still going to work up and down when there's no slop. And this here too can benefit from plenty of lubrication, otherwise this angle of the feed roller can get a bit stuck and won't adjust like you want it to. I like to have some grease in there.
So your sharpening stone for sharpening your belt is engaged here with this lever. If you push that down, then that engages the clutch and engages your stone. You then wind this lever out until you begin to sharpen your stone, sharpen your belt, and then wind this back away before you disengage your clutch. So make sure everything's spinning. Engage belt, wind stone on, disengage belt. You don't want to be putting the stone onto the bell when the stone stops.
The angle and depth of cut of your sharpening stone can be adjusted via a lock nut underneath the bottom of the machine. If you just loosen this off, you can then align your stone parallel to your knife, and adjust the depth of your cut. This can become useful when you're, especially on these top feed machines, sometimes it is useful to have a longer bevel on your bell knife to allow more clearance for the presser foot roller.
We'll now talk about the adjustments of the stone. This knob here adjusts your angle of the stone in relation to the belt. And then you have a knob here that adjusts the stone, the depth of the cut, I guess. It adjusts the distance between the stone and the bell knife. This knob here, this lever I should say, adjusts the pressure of the spring on the stone.
If you've got thicker, heavier leather you're skiving, you're going to want reasonable pressure on here. If you've got thinner leather, you can reduce your pressure. When adjusting the feed stone, adjust the stone so that it's parallel from one side to the other to the bell. So as you can see here, you can wind it one way and then wind it back out here, and this brings that side up to make it parallel. This is not something you need to measure, you should be able to tell this by eye. And then you adjust the depth of your cut, so to speak, your skive with this knob here. Usually this should be set up basically so you can only get a thickness of paper between the stone and the bell. There might be some other exceptions, but that's the general rule. And obviously these sort of work in unison, so sometimes if you adjust this one, you may have to adjust this one again to correct your angle.
And you also have a knob here that is for adjusting the scraper that removes the leather from inside the bell, and there's a little tab here you can move in and out once you undo that knob to get it set up right.
At some stage you may need to remove the stone or replace a scraper in here, so I'll go through some of the necessary things to do that. First thing, you need to remove this spring tension, and there's a little keeper there for it. This wants to be nice and free, and if you find it stiff at any time, you can adjust it by loosening this, and there's a little pin here like that, so you can take the pressure off. It wouldn't hurt to put a little bit of lubrication, a bit of grease on there occasionally. And then to remove this whole assembly, you just remove this pin and just work this out like that. So you have your drive stone here, and then you have this scraper which is meant to be adjusted so that it would remove anything from the stone. These wear out and break, and these springs here also break. They need to be checked periodically. And if you need to replace your stone, obviously you have to undo this screw here, take it out, and then there's a screw there that removes it from the shaft. To replace this back in, you have your little drive shaft uni that you have to place back into the drive mechanism up in here. And it just slots in like that, and then you align with this pin, slide this pin back in and tighten up and readjust that. Just want to be very careful not to get cut on the belt. This tool here is to screw in to this shroud in here, and you can pull this out to adjust for the leather, like help to feed the leather. It might get stuck in the bell. As the bell wears, obviously you may have to push this back somewhat, and you also have another scraper here that's adjusted on this screw here. While we're in here, we have the sharpening stone here, and it comes with this little tool that you can use when the machine's running. And the stones, you just want to come on very, very gently and clean up any glazing that comes onto this stone with these little rollers. If it's not sparking when you go to sharpen and this is glazed up, it's not working properly, and you need to use this to clean it up. You can get some diamond dressers from Blackwoods that are probably better for the job than this, but this is what the machine's supplied with.
So we'll just run through a bit more skiling. Hopefully it'll give you a bit of an idea of how the machine is operated. So yeah, that's a much deeper skive than I was doing before. That depends on your depth of this one. Alright, that concludes the Cowboy bell skiver top feed. Hope you've learned something, and we'll see you on the next video.